So we said the VirtualBox is a hypervisor, the VirtualBox manager, as you see here, Oracle VM VirtualBox manager. Now the Oracle is the company which maintain and produce the software, and it's one of the most used in any environment, I would say, a lab environment, in production as well, because it's free and it's full of features. It's full of features. Now, keep in mind, there is a new version. The one we're using at the moment is 6.1. Maybe you're using something before 6. If this is the case, I would like you guys to open your your folder. You would navigate to Tableau and there to my name and the T06, and you're gonna find out the version which is there. I'm not sure if it's the latest one, but you could always open the site of VirtualBox. So you just do download VirtualBox. And after this you go, that's the first thing you're gonna see. And then you go and download the one for the Windows. This is the one, Windows hosts. Now it's very important when you download this one, you guys should download the, here a little bit below where it says VirtualBox 6.14 Oracle VirtualBox extension pack. You're gonna see that's how it goes in wherever I downloaded for you as well. Like that's the VirtualBox itself. This is the one, and this is the extension pack for it. They're supposed to be the same version, 6.1 to 6.12. Now you need to have the extension pack installed with the VirtualBox, since that's something which supports it heavily. Okay, any questions here? The major improvement they did with this one is they introduced something which is known as a nested virtualization. Meaning, if you would like to install a hypervisor within the hypervisor, well, that's what it means. Nested virtualization. Hypervisor within the hypervisor. So if you would like to test one of these ones, ESXi, Hyper-V, KVM, Zen, and so on and so forth, if you would like to test them into the VirtualBox, well, you need the nested virtualization there. Before this, it wasn't available. Now it is. A VMware Player, that's how the VMware Player looks like. It's the free version of the VMware workstation, actually. It's a VMware, it's another product, obviously. But it looks very similar. It's also a hypervisor. We're not going to use it here, but it could be used. It's free version. The best one is the paid version of this one. So if you would like to play a lot with the virtualization and do a lot of labs at home, well, I would say use this one. So you see my ISO files. I have Ubuntu, CentOS 7, OpenSense, and I have the Windows Server ISO. Here it is. So if I would like to install it, the easiest way is to click on this small button here which says New, and I will call it wherever I want. It's up to me. The VirtualBox is done this way, so when you write down something which have a meaning, actually you see it will choose the type and the version automatically, which is a good thing. But if it doesn't choose it as automatically, well, you could click here and you could choose it for you. You have all the Microsoft Windows, all the Linuxes, and everything else. Well, then the other, because the other means other. Well, the Mac OS 10, IBM, BSD, Berkeley Software Distribution, Solaris, all of these are Unix kernels. So when now I've chosen now the version, I could choose any version which is available. Plus, if there is something which I could imagine which is not available, it will be other Windows 64 and 32. That's what it is. So in our case, Windows 2016-64 is the best choice, which automatically has been done for me. Now, keep in mind, if you don't see 64-bit version when you try to open the version, that means your computer has in its basic input-output system, in its BIOS. So I could use, when I click on the button, actually, what I did here, to create a new one, we set Windows Server 2016. And now the amount of RAM, I could choose wherever I want, wherever is done. For now, I'm going to choose it. I could go a little bit in the beginning, a little bit bigger, which means everything which will be done will be a little bit faster. So it will be, let's say, 3072. Well, one of the ways to change it actually, if you want to change this automatically kind of, let's put it again. Okay. Okay. So if I would like to change this, I could go to the scroller here and I could click a little bit ahead on the scroller. You see, if I click once, it will change it with 512 gigabyte. If I click again, it will change with another 512 gigabyte. So when I click on the scroller ahead or behind, it increases or decreases with half a gigabyte, it increases. Notice also the colors, the green, orange, and the red thing. So there is an orange there in between the red. Well, this is how much we have on our real machine. So actually, because the hypervisor is a program we install on the real machine, you always need to consider what your real machine does. The easiest way to do it, to go to the taskbar. For me, for your convenience, guys, and on the top, for you, at the bottom, you right click and you go and do task manager. And on the task manager, when you go to the performance, you're gonna see how much of any of these resources you're using at any time, okay, at any point. Now, it's a good idea you to know how much resources your machine has and to create kind of a baseline, so you to know what is the minimum what you're supposed to have so your machine to exist. Now, the minimum is minimum, right? Most of the time you're gonna use other programs, so I would say see what is the maximum and afterwards divide or substitute wherever was whatever is given to you. And how you're going to see it? Opening the file manager, this PC, right click on it, properties, and then you navigate, you click on one of these, doesn't matter which of them, or even without clicking on this, you could see it here. You see installed memory 16, and you could see other things. If you would like to see more, you could click device manager and you could see any information you needed to know about the system. Okay, everything what you want to know. And then to make an assumption based with what you see here on the task manager, what is the optimum you always supposed to keep on your real machine, meaning wherever you could create for your virtual machines. As you see, you have a lot now. I could use up to almost, let's see how much is this one. It is about 12 gigabyte I could use. Yeah, but if I create another virtual machine after this and it has even 1 gigabyte of RAM, well, if I start both of them together, obviously I'm going to have a problem after this, right? So that's something you need to consider, okay? So when I choose this, I'm going to choose it just for the moment being. I'm not going to choose it more. I'll say create. Now, if you see this manager, this wizard, if you see it a little bit smaller than mine, doesn't matter. You're in the guided mode. Okay, you're not in the expert mode, which I am at the moment. It's the same thing. You just need to click more. That's all. Now, do not add virtual disk. That's an option I don't discuss even. Use an existing virtual hard disk. It's an important one, since you might want to move this on another place and use it then on your home and move it back and so on and so forth. Or you might create your virtual machine using another program and you could add it here and use it right away. Okay? But for our purposes here, we're going to do create virtual hard disk now. We click create. Now, by the way, it's a good idea to know what's going on, right? So when I go, let's see where I'm creating it actually. It says D VirtualBox VMSs. Yeah. Now, because I don't have enough space, well, I had no enough space before, I moved it to D. By default, this is on C. It is on wherever the user profile are in users. And you get here, that's my profile, SEN. And here at the bottom, you have the VirtualBox VMSs. Here it is. So by default, it creates them there, and it creates the virtual machine actually as a folder. And within the folder, you're going to see the file of the virtual machine, or files. Most of the time there are files. Now, For my purpose here, I have D and VirtualBox, so I'm going to click this to monitor it. Here is the VirtualBox VMS. Here it is. That's what I have at the moment. So what I'll do now, I will say create. It's called Server 2016. And when I say create, actually it will create the hard drive. Now the hard drive, there are a couple of different extensions. You know, in Windows, files using something known as an extension, which basically shows the Windows operating system which program to use to open the file itself. Okay, so the extension here is called VDI, which is the standard one which comes with VirtualBox. If you would like to use it with Microsoft's Hyper-V, VHD is the good choice, the next one. If you would like to use it with VMware's product, VMDK. Parallels, QCO, and so on and so forth, most of them, they work with hypervisors like QEMU and the one which is called KVM. But you could change, doesn't matter. I could create now my machine VDI, and afterwards I could transfer from one to the other. There is no problem. There are programs which does this for me. Okay, so I could just need to create the size, and the 50 gigabyte is okay. Now, dynamically allocated and fixed size is at the moment is an important choice also to do. By default, we're going to use the default one. So dynamically allocated also is known as thin provisioning, thin. The fixed size is known as thick provisioning in the virtualization, meaning dynamically allocated, it will take exactly as it needs at the moment to install the operating system, and then it will grow up to what you've chosen. In that case, 50 gigabyte. The thick or the fixed size will take it right away out of the hard drive. Most of the time, because we have a limited resource, we're going to use the dynamically allocated, which is the default one. Okay, and we just click actually create here. If I want to put this file on my USB, no problem. I just click here and I'll put it wherever I want. Keep in mind, starting files, virtual machine from a USB, it's a tedious thing. The machines are a resource, so they take a lot of resources. USBs, where you most of the time connect them to, are not so powerful and not so speedy, even though nowadays there are some which are very fast. So when you start a couple of them together from a USB, you're going to crash the computer again, or it will be painlessly or painfully slow. Okay, so in that case, just use the USB as a carrier to take it from here, move it home, and so on and so forth. Any questions here, guys? I'll click create. And when I click create, I will expect to see my server 2016 has been installed in this subdirectory, which is T13. So if I click here on this directory, I don't see it. It's this one, T13, this one. So here it is, the server which has created, server 2016. These are the files, and especially the VDI file. This is the server itself. So if you need to move something at home and work at home, this is the file you need. The other ones are just some settings which anyways you could use there. So actually this is a group which I'm going to remove the file for now out of it, and I'm going to show it to you how to do this further. So here's my server. Well, because I was opening this, it didn't want it to, no, but now it's outside of this. So everything in the VirtualBox is based on files and folders. So if I try to create something with the same name and it's in the same location, apparently it will tell me you cannot, because Windows simply doesn't allow the same name on the same location. So it's simple like this. Once I do it, I need to click settings, and I need to start working on the settings. Something which is very important to be done, especially when we start working with GNS3, is to click on Advanced button. It's optional thing, but it's good to be done. You click Disabled, and you choose the bidirectional, and you do the same for drag and drop. Right? So the next thing is to go to the system. It's not mandatory, but you could remove the floppy. And while it's chosen, with the scroller on the right side, you could move it to the bottom. You could increase the processor, the same concept here. Be careful with the green, orange, and the red part. Okay? I would suggest do not use this for now. Display. When you have graphical interface, the display is supposed to be max. The video memory is supposed to be on max. Remote display, if it's started, it's good idea to be stopped. Well, you might see an error, and it will say, when you click on the error down, it will say specifically you guys to stop it. The storage. Okay, the storage is where we need to put our ISO image. What is an ISO? When I go and click on this CD-like here, where it says empty at the moment, by the way, on the top here, the server where it says, this is the file which I just created. This is this guy. This is this one. Okay, so what I created it is this one here. So if I would like to, when I click on this, you see on the right side is changing what it is on the right side. And there is a small CD. When I click on it, I could choose any ISO image I have somewhere. I could choose it on a network location. I could choose it from my desktop. Well, because I've chosen it already a couple of times, it's already here. And I could choose it from my shortcuts, actually. There are shortcut menu. And I'll click Windows Server, and it will be chosen right away. The network, after the break, we're going to speak a lot about it. The network, but initially you need to know it's supposed to be not network. The last but one option. Not network, not NAT. There are two options which has NAT inside, not the first one. I say this clearly because lots of people, even though I say and I record, they still use NAT. No NAT, not network. When you use NAT, any computer you're going to produce will have the IP address of 10.02.15. That's how I know when I see somebody comes to me, I see the IP address right away, and I know. And any computer will have this IP address. And if you even try to change it after it won't change, okay? So that means these computers cannot communicate to each other because they will have the same network address, okay? The same network identification, which is something which doesn't allow to be done. So we need to use NAT network. Here it is. If I want to change my MAC address, which sometimes is the case, we're going to speak why. When I click on this drop-down menu, here it is. I could change it with this scroller here. I could change. If I click on this small icons here, you're going to see my MAC address is changing. This thing is called spoofing of the MAC address, common hacker technique. Okay? Then I could say shared folders, and I could share my real computer's desktop with my virtual computer's desktop. Like the same way, like on my this PC, I have the this one here, the Tableau here attached. And every time I start my computer, I see my network location of Tableau. The same time, the same way I could see it. And I could add any folder which I want here. Click on the plus sign. Here there is a small drop down. I'll click on it, other. Then I'm going to choose my desktop. That's the most common destination. I'll say select the folder. Do auto mount, which means every time you reboot the computer, it will be added. And then you click OK. And your setups for the system are OK. Now, notice, most of the time when you start, when you click on NAT network, it won't allow you to use it. It will give you an error message here. I'll click OK now for now, because for me there is no error. For you might appear. That means you need to close it. You need to come File. You need to go Preferences. And then you need to go here where it says Network. And you need to have at least one NAT network here. If there is nothing, that's why the error occurred. Which means you need to click on the plus sign. You're going to see what I'm seeing. So when I click plus sign now, another one will appear. So that will happen with you. If I would like to remove it, I'll click cross. But it's a good idea you to have at least one NAT network. As you see, we're going to use it a lot. So NAT network, I'll say OK. And I won't have any problems anymore. OK? That's what it is. And my server is ready to be installed. So NAT network. Now, after the break, I'll leave you now, you guys, to work on this. I'll say something before. I would like to show it to you what's happening when you delete the thing. Okay? I would like to be sure everybody very well understand what I'm saying. So here's my recycle bin. I even open it here. Here it is. I'll open my recycle bin. As you see, there is nothing in my recycle bin. It's empty. Okay? So we'll create very fast bogus real machine, virtual machine. I'll call it test. Doesn't matter what is there. I'll just say create. I'll say create again. And the machine has been created. Here it is, the test machine. If I go and check it, you're going to see it in the same location as there. Now, notice what will happen when I remove this machine. Right click, and I'll say remove. Okay? There are two ways. Remove only, which will remove it here from the, it will just be removed from this list. It won't be listed anymore, but it will be still there. Now, if I say, let's open actually here the other one, so you guys to see what will happen with this machine too. So let's open it here. Let's go to the virtual box, and here it is. It's called test. This is the machine. So that's the one, right? So notice this virtual machine and notice my recycle bin. This is my recycle bin. Okay. So I'm coming here and I'm saying delete all files. That's the way normally you delete. You delete everything. So watch what will happen with the test and how it will come into recycle bin. Okay, the test disappeared and nothing appeared in the recycle bin. So